Rainbow Tribe, here we go again with Diary of a Mad Yogi, taking a section of the book and just expanding on it, talking about it. We've already mentioned the magical aspects and how it was created through the crystal. Well, now I'm just going to go into a little more detail about that. I'm going to read a passage to start off with from the book. And at this point, the protagonist has found a sun disk which was secreted, which was lost after the Second World War, and he's rediscovered it in Cornwall. This sun disk is connected to Amaratsulu, the sun goddess. And Raph has found himself with a group of people in a cave, the Merlin Cave in Cornwall. Now this cave is on the ley line that runs from Cornwall to London, and this ley line is the Michael Magdalene line, and it goes like this. It intertwines and interweaves, and every point where it interweaves is a cathedral or a sacred site. And those that understand these things understand the electromagnetic energy, namely the Druids and the particularly the Australian indigenous people, who really understood how to input energy into the song lines and create a unified consciousness. So these lines extend around the world and they hold the consciousness in place. So in recent history, in the last 12,000 years or so, the dark forces have put churches and buildings on these song lines to control the of the people. And this is changing because now we're all gathering on these sacred sites again. And these sacred sites are really places of high power, high resonance. They have an effect on you and your consciousness, and they have an effect on the earth and the earth's consciousness. And so this passage is in Cornwall. Science ignores what it can't understand, like clairvoyance and clairaudience, for example. There is a considerable amount of empirical evidence from people who have returned to their past life situation and been able to recall the street number where they lived, the accident they died in, and have it corroborated. And then there are prodigies, a child who was able to play Mozart at the age of 4. How does this happen? The child knows that she learnt in a past life. However, when they see the adults are asleep, they keep quiet. This applies to all children to some degree. Their natural sensibilities are suppressed by our materialistic linear education system. Listen to me getting on my hobby horse again. She flicked her hair back like a whip, as if to physically demonstrate this. We love you, Auntie Marge, Jimmy said. You are the best. So this conversation takes place in Hunter's Wood, the family home in South Devon in the forest, when the whole family have assembled for Christmas. And they're having a conversation about all aspects of spirituality, which now, because of Raph's awakening, he can understand. And he's deeply become involved in this area of working with the song lines, the ley lines, and on sacred sites. And his family, he discovers, he knew they were weird and eccentric, but they are connected very strongly to the Druids through the lineage, through the family lineage. And so he's learning about all the elements of the Druidic family and how they interact with the world, the way that they can discover things, the Turton effect, the ability to discover hidden and lost objects. So he's discovered this extraordinary sun disk. And the next part of the book is when he actually goes through a lot of ceremonies and then goes to Japan to return the sun disk to the cave where Amaratsulu, the sun goddess, has remained in the darkness for all of this time during this period of the dark forces controlling the world. So this is about the world awakening, which is happening now to all of us and to our whole world. And just amazingly, we're beginning to learn a lot more about these aspects. So the book interweaves with all of these innate but suppressed skills. And it's there for all of us, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, all of those aspects are there for all of us. So I wanted to put it in a story, an adventure story, weaving in the spiritual aspects as well as the aspects of yoga and the process of how to awaken, how to meditate, and how to actually make love properly. All of these things which have been suppressed, the knowledge which has been suppressed from us for so long. And it's like everything's there. And a lot of people have said to me, when they read the book, they feel it's in a kind of code. It's encoded. Well, not read it so much, because at the moment it isn't quite in text. It's in an audio form. So when they listen to it, they actually sense that they're getting information, downloading information in a different form, in the code that is contained in the voice, my voice, in the book here. So I'm trying. I don't like putting myself forward, but now is the time to do it. Now is the time of awakening. So we need to pass on this knowledge in a way that people can enjoy it and see the benefits of this, of yoga, of spirituality, which is not religion. It's detached from religion. It's about your connection to Mother Earth and Father Sky. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'm pleased to say the people I've spoken to reading it are getting that feedback, that maybe there are missing things that they didn't know that are there, and the understanding of these ley lines and how they interact with the humanity and how they weave through the landscape, particularly the Mary Magdalene line, which runs from Cornwall to London, and each point where it crosses over itself, there's a church or a cathedral or a sacred site, like Avebury, for example. And Merlin was definitely a real being, and these things that we think are myths are actually real, and Merlin is a lineage, and there's still a Merlin today, and there's still magic being performed on these points, because putting your conscious intent into the land has an effect. It has an effect on the population. That's why the dark forces put the churches and the buildings of power on these spots, because the altar in the church has the means to alter consciousness. So much love and blessings. Just a brief explanation of that passage of the book. Bless you.